I have chuckled at this for years because, again, I put myself, just think about this, Eric. So this was 1787, Constitutional Convention. A bunch of dudes with wooden teeth, with white wigs, wearing high socks,
And
sat in
makeup.
a room, makeup. They were probably drinking whiskey out of a barrel. And these men argued whether essentially a black person, a slave, should be worth 3/5 of a human being. And I bring this up. This is like, when I say comedy, this is like the Dave Chappelle racial draft comedy. Think about this. There's probably half the dudes in the room were like, no, it should be 2/5. And the other half were like, no, it should be 4/5, right? Like, just imagine the argument. Like, Eric, I know I'm trying to be kind of funny, but like, that was a debate. Like, no, they're only 40%. No, they're 80%. Let's compromise on 60%. That was basically an argument being had by these dudes with powdered wigs, makeup, and high socks, wooden teeth in the late 1700s. And we're still
Yeah,
basing a lot of the crap we do now on it. It's insanity.
it is. And again, I have tremendous respect and admiration for most of the founding fathers, particularly Hamilton and Madison and Washington and Adams, Jefferson. They were men of their time, right? They, like we all are. They were products of where they grew up, what was going on around them, and they were trying to do the best they could. And I think given those constraints and given what we were up against to try to form this country, they overcame incredible odds. And what they came up with was a blueprint that I think it speaks for itself what America's become over 250 years. They should be held up in high regard for that. But to get there, they had to do and make some pretty terrible compromise. I mean, essentially, think what because look, the southern states were essentially arguing at the Constitutional Convention slaves aren't people, they're property. They don't have any rights at all, none, not the least of which is the right to vote. They have no rights. But we want them to count because we want more representation in Congress. And the northern people were like, well, we don't really like slavery. We don't think you should own people, but they certainly shouldn't be allowed to vote, and they shouldn't be counted because for congressional representation because they're property. Like, these were the arguments they were having at that time, and those arguments and the deals that were made, some of which have stood the test of time and I think been proven to be pretty good. Others have not, right? Like not direct electing senators, the electoral college, but trying to get rid of them now because of the way that it benefits or hurts one party is never going to happen. Let's be honest. It's not going to happen.